more beautiful, smarter, and probably a better sense of humor.
17 years of silence. One caption. And suddenly, the story everyone thought they knew about Keanu Reeves fell apart in real time. On September 24, 2025, Alexandra Grant posted a photo of herself kissing Keanu Reeves at Crater, an art site in Arizona. In the caption, she wrote 3 words that undid 3 months of tabloid headlines: "Not an engagement. No wedding," she said. "No secret ceremony in Europe. Just a real moment, caught mid-laugh, with both of them making faces at the camera." Within hours, the same outlets that had spread the fake wedding story were quoting her correction, word for word. But here's what almost nobody talks about. That one caption wasn't really about a ring. It was the first time in 17 years that Alexandra Grant had spoken directly to the public about what this relationship actually is. And once you understand what she was really protecting all that time, the story gets a lot more interesting than a wedding ever could have been. Because the real story doesn't start with a ring. It starts in 2009, at a dinner party neither of them has ever bothered to date exactly. Keanu Reeves met a painter named Alexandra Grant that night. No headlines, no spark reported, nothing anyone thought to write down. Just 2 people who got along and stayed in touch. That should have been the whole story. It wasn't. 2 years later, in 2011, something unexpected came out of that friendship. A book. Reeves wrote the words. Grant illustrated them. It was called Ode to Happiness, and here's the detail that changes everything. It was never supposed to be published. Grant made it as a private gift, just for him. When she handed it over in front of friends, the room laughed so hard people begged the 2 of them to release it properly. Reeves has since called it a meditation on making the best of a bad situation. A line that, looking back, describes both of them better than any interview ever has. Stay with this, because the next 8 years are where the entire public narrative about Keanu Reeves quietly falls apart. Between 2011 and 2019, Reeves and Grant were photographed together more than once. Nobody noticed a pattern. In 2016, they appeared together at the UNAIDS Gala in Switzerland, standing close, and it barely registered as news. That same year, they released a second book, Shadows, built entirely from Grant's photographs of Reeves, not his face, but his outline, his shape, light and dark. A year later, they opened a small independent publishing house together. On paper, it read as 2 artists supporting each other's work. In practice, it was a life being built one quiet project at a time, in a part of the culture entertainment reporters almost never bothered to check. Here's the rehook. Everything the public thought it understood about Keanu Reeves as the tragic, unavailable movie star was already wrong by the time anyone started repeating it. 4 years, every profile written about Reeves circled the same tragedies. His friend River Phoenix, his former partner Jennifer Syme, the daughter they lost before she was born, and Syme's death in a car accident not long after. The story the public told itself was simple. A grieving man who had chosen solitude over risking that kind of loss again. Nobody knew that underneath all of that, a relationship had already been quietly forming for years, hidden inside book projects and gallery openings that looked, to everyone watching, like ordinary work. The public finally caught up in 2019, and once it did, everything moved fast. May brought a benefit for the Museum of Contemporary Art, their first real red carpet appearance together. June, a fashion show in Malibu, hands clasped, cameras finally catching it. Then November, the LACMA Art Plus Film Gala, and the story exploded overnight across every entertainment site and morning show in the country. But here's the part almost every retelling of this story leaves out completely. When the LACMA photos broke, reporters scrambled to figure out how long this had actually been going on. It was Grant's friend, actress Jennifer Tilly, who gave the answer nobody expected. Several years, she said. Not months. Years. That single sentence quietly rewrote the entire timeline the public had assumed. The couple photographed at LACMA in 2019 wasn't new. It was old. It had already survived years of being disguised as professional collaboration. Think about what that actually means. Every early photo of Reeves and Grant at book signings and gallery openings, the ones everyone assumed showed 2 colleagues at work, may have been documenting a real relationship the entire time. The public didn't discover something new in 2019. It discovered something it had simply failed to notice for nearly a decade. And that brings us to the part of this story that rarely gets told at all. Who Alexandra Grant actually is, independent of any of this. Born in Ohio in 1973 to a geology professor and a diplomat-turned-political science professor, she grew up between Mexico City, Paris, and boarding schools in the United States, fluent in English, Spanish, and French before she ever picked up a paintbrush professionally. She studied history and studio art at Swarthmore, then earned a graduate degree in painting from the California College of the Arts. In 2007, 2 years before she even met Reeves, she had her first solo museum show at the Museum of Contemporary Art in Los Angeles. She's since founded a charitable art project funding other artists, taught at multiple institutions, directed a documentary, and received recognition for her own work that has nothing to do with who she's dating. Ask most galleries in Los Angeles who Alexandra Grant is, and Keanu Reeves is not the first answer you'll get. Keep that in mind, because it explains everything that happens next. After the wave of attention in 2019, the two of them did something almost nobody expected. They vanished from red carpets for 3 years. No joint appearances, just the occasional paparazzi photo and nothing official. Then, in 2022, they resurfaced at the Mocha Gala, visibly more at ease. The following year, they went further, an actual kiss on the red carpet, something neither of them had ever done publicly before. Around that same time, Reeves was asked to describe his last real moment of happiness. His answer was almost deliberately ordinary, lying in bed with Grant, laughing about nothing in particular. No cameras. No red carpet. Just two people comfortable enough not to need an audience. Which finally brings the story back to that ring, and to why the fake wedding rumor mattered so much more than a simple correction. In June 2025, at the premiere of Ballerina, Grant was photographed beside Reeves wearing a ring that caught the light just enough to be noticed. A tabloid ran a story about a secret European wedding. The internet believed first and checked later. Congratulations flooded in. Old photos were recirculated with new captions describing a marriage that had never happened. For nearly 3 months, that rumor grew on nothing but one photo and a lot of guessing. Here's the re-hook that changes how you should read everything that came before it. The reason that rumor spread so fast wasn't the ring. It was the silence. Two people who had spent 17 years saying almost nothing publicly had given the internet no information to work with, so the internet simply invented its own. Then, on September 24, 2025, Grant finally addressed it. The photo at Crater. The caption calling it real, not an engagement, not some artificial announcement generated online. Just a kiss caught at an ordinary moment. She thanked people for their kindness, added a small warning about how easily false stories spread, and called the moment a small piece of real happiness. One Instagram caption undid 3 months of headlines built by outlets with far bigger platforms than hers, without a lawyer, a publicist, or a press release anywhere near it. A few weeks earlier, in early September, she'd already given fans something rarer than a correction. A birthday post for Reeves, complete with a heart-shaped cake with his name iced across it, thanking him in plain words for his love and their partnership. It's one of the only times this relationship has shown up warm and unguarded on its own terms, without a rumor forcing the moment into view. Then came October, at the premiere of Reeves' film Good Fortune, when a reporter finally asked him directly about the marriage rumor. He laughed it off, said it wasn't even the first time people had assumed they'd quietly married, and noted simply that they'd been together a long time now, said almost like it wasn't worth making a fuss over. He credited Grant for correcting the record kindly, without drama, and called the whole episode a strange kind of nice thing, since it had come from people who genuinely wanted good things for both of them. And that, in the end, is the real reveal. Not a wedding. Not a ring. Something quieter, and far harder to fake. Two intensely private people who built a life together for 17 years without ever needing anyone's permission for it to be real. In January 2026, Grant marked the closing night of Reeves' Broadway run in Waiting for Godot, writing about how proud she was watching him take that risk, and sharing the moment he spotted her in the audience at Curtain Call. In April, they stepped out again for the premiere of his film Outcome, dressed, as always, in the same muted, understated colors they wear whenever cameras are present. Their publishing house is still running years after they built it. Grant continues expanding into new work of her own, including wine production alongside her gallery career, proof that nothing about this relationship has ever asked her to shrink her own life to fit inside his. 17 years of silence, and in the end, all it took to break it was one honest sentence, posted by a woman who never needed the attention in the first place. Maybe that's the actual love story here, not the ring nobody confirmed, but the quiet, deliberate choice, made over and over again, to let the work speak instead of the headlines. And maybe that's why, even now, people can't stop watching for the next photo, the next caption, the next small piece of a story these two have never once tried to sell.